Good mental state. I think they've all been in good form, to be fair. And they obviously come back off a great win, and there's a buoyancy around that as well. Physically, they're having to be nursed through the first couple of training days. They do the absolute minimum, really, and we trust them to get themselves up to speed with all our calls and structures, hopefully for full integration on Thursday. It's not ideal, but that's the sort of state to play around the fourth international, I guess.
Gruff, do you think it's possible for the likes of Bigger and Wynne to play with that degree of commitment, just sort of a week after giving everything against South Africa?
It's probably tough for most people, I've never been good enough to experience that, but I think if anyone can, those guys can, to be fair. They're some of the toughest young men I know, with a real passion for what we do here. They were, banging away straight away at Steve's door, knowing exactly what happened in Leinster, what needs to be done, and what are our structures and calls for this week, and how we're going to beat Racing, which just says it all about their mindset. Obviously, as I said, buoyant about what they achieved, but they just move on really quickly. It's remarkable on one hand, but it's quite good to see on the other.
Bigger was in knocking on the door pretty early, was he?
Yeah, he always is, and obviously we want him to rest and recover, because we know the training load and obviously the playing intensity he's gone at. But he did get himself on the training field today, even though I think medically they wanted to pull him back. But he's done a little bit with us around some of our patterns and understanding for the week, and yeah, he switches straight in, to be fair, and understands our world immediately.
Any doubts at all about bringing them back in, or sticking with the boys that have seen you through, or is their experience invaluable?
No, the experience is invaluable, and it's it's a big game for us. We're into the biggest club competition around, and they want to be a part of it. They recognise that we've had a good run with them in the league, and we're into a competition that we want to have a good crack at. We know it's frustrating and challenging, but they're at the forefront of what we do, and they're positive about what we do as well. So I don't think we could have held them back, despite some pleasing aspects to the other group who've been around and put in a good shift over the last couple of weeks. And some of them do miss out, but that's the nature of having sort of some players to come back into the mix at a world-class level.
You registered Gareth Thomas as a prop. Is it a crisis at the moment in the prop position?
I wouldn't say full-blown crisis. We've been in this situation before. I remember a couple of years ago we were down to calling in Campbell Johnson from a beach in Spain, if I remember, to play Toulouse away in this exact week. So we're not at that extreme level yet, with respect to Campbell, but it's not ideal. You lose. It's hard to plan for losing 3 top-level loose heads. But we trust in what we do here. The recruitment process about someone like Mark Thomas has been in the pathway, and Gareth we identified last year as someone who could underpin our main group, and we've got a lot of faith in what we do. We continually look out in terms of our recruitment process around all positions, but it's underpinned by what we do around these players. So he's been training with us, and it was for us with another injury elsewhere. It was a logical move for us to move in.
Who's in pole position to wear the number 1 jersey?
We have got options, and as we speak, the forwards are running through some of their set piece work down in the barn, and there's a few of them will run through that loose head shirt. Mark and Gareth, as I mentioned, but also there is an option around someone like Jarvis, who's obviously done a bit in the trial back end of last year, had a lot of reps in training last weekend, came on the weekend.
What about Dimitri as well?
I think Dimitri, looking at obviously how he's set up for us, how he's come on in leaps and bounds as a tight head, I think he's pretty locked in terms of that position for us for the week. It may also be an option around the 2-week block, but I think considering the turnover of players and time you get with certain players, I think we'll probably just consolidate where we are with Dimitri for the immediate moment.
With Rees, have you been surprised at how well he settled in international rugby?
Not really, no. In that, in terms of a mindset for it, I've obviously known him since as a young man, but probably more recently over the last couple of years, and seeing the setbacks he's had, he's got the unshakable belief that he can and will be Wales's number 1s, even in his darkest moments. So he goes into the arena having trained well, feeling physically good. I know, and he showed it with the true belief that he can perform on a higher stage, and he's always had the attributes to do that. It's just sometimes with us, we've seen in the past just putting it all in the the right sort of package, and he's reacted well to some of Rob and Gatz's messages, and I've been really proud to see what he's done.
If he comes up against Phillips this weekend, would you expect Rees to do well?
For him, it's not an individual matchup. It's about him understanding where there's opportunities for us as a team, and we saw in the first block of league games when he's got to be smart in his relationship with Dan and where they can put us on the front foot, and when to take his opportunity. And that's what I've liked about it. You play the Dragons, he doesn't go himself until the 55th minute. You play Australia and he has a moment in the first few minutes and scores a try. But he's got an understanding of what those cues are as well.
I guess Phillips would have a point to prove after the autumn series.
Yeah, he's a quality operator. We've spoke about him and what he can bring, but we're also aware that they've got other top talents. I like McEnroe as a 9 as well. He really challenges the line, and so whichever one comes in, that's a tough confrontation. As is Sexton Bigger, as is Roberts and whoever we put in midfield. It's a heady mix really.
Gruff, would you hope to tap into the sort of feel-good factor that's in Welsh rugby after that one?
Yeah, you've got to. You try and certainly in your relations with player and seeing the sort of springiness in the step. You've got to sort of ride that to a certain degree, whilst also understanding what we've been trying to do as well. And it's not just suddenly coming in and ripping up everything we've done. There's a framework in place which with these players did put us to the top of the league after that first block, and they understand that and they fit back in seamlessly to it. But you see people like Scott Baldwin, James King being a part of that, and having known them since they were young men, you've got to empathise with how good they feel. It's the pinnacle, and we recognise that and support it fully, while still trying to get our end for what comes next, and how they can keep improving as well.
You said that Dan turned up keen to train with you. Physically after that game on Saturday, what kind of condition was he in?
Yeah, he wasn't 100%, and as I said, the medical team quite cautious in perhaps us holding him back. He'd be doing all and everything, but it is probably the first time in Dan's career. He had a bump in the Zebra game, and I've seen probably bumps and bruises accumulate over the autumn series, that we perhaps have to sort of manage him differently to how we've always done in the past, where he's been touched with the best trainer. He's very rarely missed any days in our training regime, but we probably, as we do with one or two others, we have to manage him accordingly.
Because of the way he plays at the moment, did you ever worry that as an outside half he could end up going the way of someone like Johnny Wilkinson, and you have to manage him against a succession of injuries potentially?
I'm not going to lie, I'm probably like some of the commentators on Saturday. You see him throw himself in there, and your first reaction is, "Oh, be careful, Dan." But no, truly as a professional and as someone who coaches him doing that week in, week out for us, that's part of his armoury, and that's for me what makes him the bravest, gutsiest 10 in the world game, let alone his attacking attributes. And we wouldn't want to take that away from him. I remember we played and beat Toulouse a couple of years ago in the Liberty. We made a line break to go 5 yards from the sticks, got turned over, and they had an 8-3-2 on the outside, but he's chasing back 90 metres, stops a try. Him and Ryan Jones, to be fair, was just a fantastic moment, which told you all about the guts and sort of intent to everything he does.
But do you think that Justin Timberlake will have something to prove this weekend after being perhaps a little bit peripheral during Willis's campaign?
Yeah, he might be one who hasn't had the profile of others, but has certainly got the ability to go with it. And he'll just he played for us in the Connacht game, which was the first start with the starting period of the autumn. He really enjoyed that, and he's enjoyed coming back into the mix and knowing that there's a sort of challenge that has got a physical sort of boundary to it this week, but also where we want to play some rugby, and he's a pivotal part of that, and we want to make him a real heart of things we do in our attacking game this week. So I think he's excited by that, and I suppose he's got points to prove.
Yeah, no faith in him's not diminished in any way.
Never.
No.
How much of a wake-up call was Northampton? And in the light of that, how important is this, especially the home leg against Racing?
Wasn't a wake-up call because we knew the tough reality of last year going there, how tough physically it is. We had a couple of little inaccuracies where we just allowed them to just build pressure on pressure, and you can't do that against any side in Europe, let alone one of those sides that's got the mountain of physical specimens they've got up front, and also how smart they can put you into certain areas. But it has been a reference point for us. You know, don't forget this Racing side, you know, beat Northampton at home by matching them physically. We have developed a game, pleasingly, with the other boys where we've actually controlled field position, we've controlled possession for the large part. We haven't been able to capitalise for other reasons, perhaps, and really go to a power game ourselves. But we've got to take the good tactical aspects of the Ulster-Leinster game, but also add the gloss, I suppose, of some players coming back in. So matching them physically, tactically, where we've been pretty good recently, but also understand where we might be able to create opportunities with 5 or 6 different personnel changes.
Would you stop Jimmy Roberts in midfield?
There's a lot of threats there. I mean, you can't ever focus on one player. You know, Sexton will take it to the line. He's a threat himself. Likewise, you know, Imhoff, Teddy Thomas on the wing, Doolin, they've got one of the best 15s in Europe. So there's threats galore. I think it's just around, you know, individually we have our defensive policies and we all know them. And when we get it right, we do, you know, knock people out of their strides, but also take away any opposition momentum. There's times we couldn't do that against Northampton, but that comes to other reasons then in terms of your kicking game and where you've got to probably put your possession on the front foot as well.
I guess Andrew Bishop is a key defensive player for you.
Yeah, he is, you know, and he's always he's had battles with Jamie in the past and always you know, locked up pretty well there. But you know, we've got some selection headaches in the centre with hopefully Josh and Ashley now training this morning has suddenly given us some headaches. Hanno has, you know, done pretty well as an impact player in the centre as well, so that's given us a different conundrum as well, which we didn't have 6 to 8 weeks ago. So it's probably the argument about are we going to stop Racing or are we going to go and win a game? And I know my gut feeling.